Welcome, college basketball fans, to the Full Court Press Podcast with LT and Sammy D. This is the podcast that brings you legendary stories from college basketball's golden era and dives in deep with a current analysis of today's game. Get ready for the most energetic and entertaining college basketball podcast around. Let's get it.
Hello and welcome to another Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show powered simply by the Full Court Network. Luke Taylor back in the saddle with my guy, Sammy D. He came back for this one. So did this guest. He is don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review. We're terrible at self-promotion, coach. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, smash the YouTube, subscribe, all that crap. So this guy is part of the Shorties, an unknown rap group that features himself, Eric Musselman, Grant McCaslin, and Mick Cronin. We got Ross Hodge, not Hodges, Hodge from the West Virginia Mountaineers men's basketball program. Welcome back to the coach. Welcome back to the show, coach.
Thanks for having me again.
Sam, Go ahead. I'm tired.
I'm curious about the Shorties. Are you guys coming out with like a new album soon, or you guys? How's that going?
No, we're not touring. We're not touring anymore.
All right. It seems like you guys are all in pretty good places right now. I'm not gonna lie. But we're gonna jump right into it, Coach. New head coach at West Virginia Mountaineers.
Hey, Coach, just wait a second. I'm gonna rudely cut Sam off.
You can interrupt.
You know who predicted this coaching hire?
Who's that?
The guy to your left, Sam Davidson.
Oh,
he was the only one, and we have it on videotape.
Off the bat, we have this on videotape. What the hell is this? 1920. We have this recorded that he said you were going to get the job. First day it opened. So
them early odds, man.
I know. I should have.
Called research, coach. Research.
I mean, for me, it was kind of a no-brainer for a couple reasons, and then I'll let you jump into it. But it was obviously the connection with Ren Baker. Coming from North Texas, and the success you've had there as well as the predecessor there. And then I grew up in Big 12 country, and it's especially the last decade or two, defense wins championships in the Big 12. And in my mind, you were the top defensive coach in the country the past couple of years with your mindset and the team you put on there and the way they played. And I thought it would translate just excellent to the Big 12. So that was the reason for my prediction. I was very proud of it. I get a lot of them wrong often, but this one I got right. So can you talk a little bit about that conversation with Ren Baker, when that position opened and how that kind of unfolded?
Yeah, it obviously there was a level of familiarity from our time being spent at North Texas there. He hired Grant there, and Ren really is, in my opinion, one of the premier athletic directors in the country now. He's got the perfect blend of vision and being progressive enough to know where the landscape is changing, but still really still has like those down home culture and understands how important people are. So we've always been really closely aligned with that. And then, when the opportunity presented itself here, really like a lot of times in coaching profession, and you guys know, because you help promote this industry. I mean, you're kind of tasked with making life altering changes and decisions in 72 to 48 hours. And so really from the first contact to, signing the contract, I mean, you're looking at a 4 or 5 day period. So it went really fast. Was super grateful for Ren and the administration there at North Texas, Jared Mosley, that they both decided to allow me to finish that run with those guys at North Texas and finish that NIT run. And, was just very, very fortunate, very blessed, and very thankful to be coaching, the Mountaineers.
Yeah. Sam, you got it right for once. But kudos to you. But so what I want to know is, you get the job. What's the first thing you did?
First thing I did?
Yeah.
Well, it was crazy. Again, because you're still playing. We were still in the midst of, I think it hadn't become, public knowledge until after our game, but we had a game at Oklahoma State that night in the quarterfinals of the NIT, and, really do the best I can. Like, I challenge our team and our staff to kind of be where your feet are and try to be in that moment. So, really, really wanted to give everything I had to that group. And, once that game was over, we did have a little more of a lag before we went and played in the semifinals in Indianapolis. So at that point in time, it just kind of began like organizing, my current staff, which those guys are awesome. Those guys came with me, Jace Hurl, Johnny Estelle, Phil Forte, Mike Randall, Sean McClurg, Andre Shaw. So it was just like balancing, like, hey, like, let's have, you 2 or 3 guys, like, do like you would normally do, prep for Irvine. And then, you 2 or 3 guys do what you would normally do, which would be, figuring out who we need to go recruit in the portal. But now you're just going to be recruiting through that lens of West Virginia, as opposed to recruiting through the lens of what where we just were. So it as weird as it probably looked like on the outside of like, how's this working? Internally, it was not too much different, because at that point in time, you're playing games and you're recruiting. We were just happened to be recruiting for a new opportunity in a new situation.
So, like, how does that go with 2 current players? I mean, you're still playing. How does that work? I mean, they're playing in a game. You're like, I'd love for them to come to Morgantown with me.
Yeah, we again, out of respect to that group and that team, we really didn't have those conversations with Jasper and Brennan until the buzzer went off. Now, when the buzzer went off and we got beat by Irvine, came up a little short. They were a great team. And that night, yeah, you were like instantly having conversations with those guys, like, hey, like, here's what's happening. Obviously, everybody knew what was happening, but we'd love for y'all to be with us. And, let's just make sure we're doing it the right way.
Yeah.
And then when you start looking in the portal, you got some really great players from
Hunter Huff.
Trace and Eagle staff. that guy was going power conference all day after
his 51 points in a game. 51 points.
Yeah, 40 against Alabama. It's like, what are the conversations as a first-year coach, right? When you're kind of putting your blueprint together. Did they know what kind of Ross Hodge basketball was, or did you have to present that to them?
Yeah. Yes, they did. Like in the case of Honor Huff, they stayed in the same hotel with us in the NIT. They were in the hotel. Their meeting room was right next to our room, and he'll tell you he asked one of his assistants at Chattanooga, like, now how are they doing this again? And so Honor did his research, and he saw the level of success that we had with smaller guards. Think back to Tyler Perry, Jason Edwards, Atten Wright last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so he knew that was something that we valued and we weren't turned off on, and same way with Trace and Eagle staff. Both those guys can really score the ball, but they knew that to get to the level that they want to get to and to get to the highest level of basketball that they want to play at, they have to become better defenders. And that's the kind of the part that people don't always mention to these guys. Like when you get an opportunity, if you get a chance to play in the NBA or a high-level European pro team, like, you're going to have to guard somebody. If you're Honor Huff and you're playing the point guard position, on the other side of the ball is SGA and Chris Paul and Steph Curry. And if you can't defend, you can't be out there. So they knew what they were getting themselves into, and to their credit, they embraced it and they wanted it, and they want to improve in those areas. And people did try to use it against us negatively in recruiting. Oh, they're a defensive. He's a defensive first coach. They're a defensive minded program. As if that is a negative, it's a positive to me, because you mentioned it. The truth is, in particular in the Big 12, the team that has the best defense typically wins the Big 12.
Yeah, it's called Kelvin Sampson in Houston.
Yeah, Kansas was winning it, and then most recently, Houston's had one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country, and they've won the Big 12. It's not a secret.
No. So has anybody told Trace and Eagle staff that he's not going to score more than 16 points in a game yet?
No. No one told him that.
40-51. Yeah, good luck getting past 16, boss.
Yeah. No one said that. And then, like I said, we've been very fortunate. Like the last 6 years, combined my time with Coach McCaslin at North Texas and then my 2 years as the head coach, we've had a first-team all-league guard all 6 years. Twice we had the player of the year. Atten Wright scored 42 last year. Jason Edwards had 5 30-point games for us. So it's not hard to maybe counterbalance the narrative of, again, if you can do that, to me, it's a lot easier to coach a player that can do that and convince them to be a really good defender and buy into that than trying to take a really good defender and trying to morph him into somebody that can go score 50 in a game.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. Is there anybody on the roster that, didn't get a whole lot of attention in the portal that now you've seen him on the court, you've seen how he's working with his teammates and in your system, and you're like, man, this guy could be sneaky good this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two that come to mind, and they were like everybody, they were both recruited in the portal, but they weren't maybe like you said, didn't get as much attention. But Morris Yugosuk that played at South Carolina last year, 6.5 a game, 40% from three, great length, really good defender, probably has been as bought in as anybody from the moment he stepped on here. And then Jackson Fields, that was part of an NCAA tournament team at Troy. And they just raved about, his intangibles and his locker room presence. And he gives you a lot of versatility. You can play smaller with him at the 5. You can play bigger with him at the 4. He can make threes. And, both those guys are really good players and incredible people, just some of the nicest people that you'll ever meet. And both have a direct impact on winning. And both have been part of NCAA tournament teams, Morris as a freshman and then Jackson last year.
Yeah. So tell me what Sunday, February 8th is going to mean to you. Texas Tech, the Red Raiders, do you like their new logo?
I saw it, but I haven't paid much attention to it. And like you were mentioning, and I have my readers here, like if I don't have these, I can't see it.
Dude, you're like 24 years old still. You're 24 years old. What are you telling me you need readers? Jeez.
I wish.
So what is
my thinking on stuff like that is if they like it, I love it.
Okay. Typical Cowboys fan. But what is that matchup going to mean for you on February 8th playing against, a close friend and someone you worked with for years?
Yeah, it's like anything else, when the ball is tipped up, you do kind of like immerse yourself into the game and the game begins and you're really just trying to figure out a way to help your team win that game. Have been in some situations where I've played like former assistants of mine and Grant and I have competed against each other when we were both young junior college coaches. The only difference, there was probably 1,400 people in the stands and there'll be 14,000 people in the stands on February 8th. But, leading up to that moment is just kind of a humble reminder of where we both began. Both began as junior college coaches, junior college assistants, and, have so much respect for Grant as a person. He's an incredible coach, does an incredible job there. They've done a great job, but really just being able to know him, who he is away from the game, how true he is to his faith and his commitment to Christ and actually lives it out, just doesn't talk it, just doesn't use it as a soundbite. He legitimately walks it every day, which is where I, respect him the most. And in a lot of ways it's made me want to be a better person, a better husband, a better father, a better son, all across the board. So, I think that when you say what'll come to mind, that's what it'll come to mind to me is just like, man, this isn't Paris Junior College versus Midland Junior College, but that's where it began. And I'd like to think that both of us have tried to remain, true to who we are, and in a lot of ways the same people, the same guys.
Yeah. What's the coaching record between you two?
We actually haven't played each other in a real game. We played each other in scrimmages, not secret scrimmages, but I want to say they were both really close. one time we scrimmaged when he was the head coach at Midland, and I was at Paris Junior College. We scrimmaged at TCU. And then when he was the head coach at Midwestern State, a Division II, he coached a team that ended up going to the Elite Eight that year. And I was the coach at Midland because I followed him to Midland. And we had the #1 junior college team in the country. And they were both really close, really, really close. I would imagine we probably split halves. And
so what you're saying is you're 0-2.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
We'll keep tabs on that one for sure. For sure. I want to imagine, and correct me if I'm wrong, Coach Hodge, but one of the biggest changes in mentality moving from North Texas to West Virginia is scheduling, right? I mean, we had you on the show last year. You talked a little bit about, how difficult it is to schedule good games as in North Texas, right? Now you've kind of moved into that power conference school. Has that changed your mentality on how you're going to schedule moving forward?
The biggest difference is, like you mentioned, is the amount of built-in quad one opportunities you're going to have in Big 12 play. I think Ken Palm released his preseason rankings, and I want to say maybe 8 or 9 of the teams were in the top 50, 6 or 7, top 25 of it. So that's the biggest difference, is you just know you're going to get so many quality quad one opportunities in league. Now, I still think it's important to challenge yourself in the non-league, which we have. We have a home game against Pitt, kind of have a neutral game in Ohio, in Cleveland, it's Ohio State in the Cavs arena. We're in the Charleston Classic where you're playing Clemson, and then on the other side is Georgia Xavier, and then playing Wake Forest in a 2-year agreement. This year it's in Charleston, West Virginia. Next year is in Greensboro. So you still want to play those games, and you still want to make sure that you don't have any falseness associated when you get into league. And then even some of the other teams like Little Rock, I saw today, like Little Rock was picked to win the OVC. We're playing them at home, and Campbell Mount St. Mary's. I mean, you don't know, like now more than ever, you can't just assume because everybody's roster is turning over so much. So, but we do want to challenge ourselves. You do want to give yourself some opportunities in the non-league to build a resume, but more importantly, like legitimately find out who you are as a team. What are your weaknesses? What do you got to improve on? And, learn and grow through the process.
Yeah, I guess that kind of sets me up for my next question is like, first-year coaches and even second-year coaches, I really don't like to look at a win-loss. It's more, especially kind of a rebuilding program. Are there any analytics this year that you're like, hey, we really want to be here analytically when you look at the stat sheet at the end of the game and at the end of the season of where we're competing in the Big 12?
Like you said, man, for us, it always starts on the defensive end of the floor. So, historically, we've had an elite defense, led the country in points per game 2 years in a row in 22 and 23 at North Texas. We've been, pretty consistent, top 50, top 25 with our Ken Palm metrics. With our adjusted defensive efficiency, we've been 1 or 2 in our league in defensive efficiency. So I think those are kind of telltale signs that you can look at that are also going to give you a chance to win on a night in and night out basis. And, arguably, and obviously I'm in it, and it's my opinion, is the best basketball league in the country.
Yeah. Are your practices going to be anything close to Kelvin Sampson's at Houston now that you're in the Big 12?
I certainly hope, I think that you would hope so. But I think Coach Sampson obviously is one of the best in the country, and what they've built there and the amount of connectivity that he's been able to have year in, year out. They've retained their best players. That's a credit to him and his staff and those players. And when you have that, I think it allows you to you don't have to spend as much time teaching everyone what the culture is and this is how we're going to do things. They already know what they're going to do. They know the expectations. They know what's expected of them on a daily basis, and then it's on the players to go out there and execute it each and every day. And that's where I think you give them a lot of credit, because if it's not, I'm not one of those guys. If it's not happening in practice, it's not just going to magically show up in the game. So they're not one of the toughest teams, if not the toughest teams in the country, just because they show up on game night and they do that. They have to do it on a daily basis, and we would like to be that same type of program and mindset. And to do that, you got to go do it on the practice floor.
Yeah. Sam, you think he's ready, or you want to go to something? Okay.
No, let's do it, LT. It's Coach LT's going to fire off 5 or 6 questions. Should be super easy. May lead to a short story.
He's smiling over there. Different questions.
Good luck. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay. This will be it. We'll start soft for you. Okay.
Okay.
One word to describe West Virginia.
Beautiful.
Okay. One word to describe the fan base.
Passionate.
Okay. All right. If they were trying to figure out who had the highest GPA of all the coaches in the Big 12, who do you think would have the highest GPA in college?
Man, that's a great question. I can tell you who didn't, and you're talking to him right now. I don't know who does, but I can tell you who wasn't number 1 on the list.
There you go.
Hey, if you ain't first, you're last. Okay. That's good. Good answer. That's a safe answer. Sam, who do you think?
It's the truth.
Yeah. Who do you think? Yeah. Who do you think got the highest GPA in college?
I mean, with the coaches we've had the chance to speak to, it's, you look at like Kelvin Sampson's background.
You wanted to be a judge.
Yeah. So it's like that would be my safe bet, just knowing the directions some of the coaches wanted to go in. But,
what about Coach Tang or Coach Lutzy, man? Come on.
Yeah, I don't know. It's Tang, maybe.
Yeah, maybe Tang.
I don't know about Lutzy.
Jeez, that's cold. Okay. Coach, who would win in a wrestling match? A bear or Bobby Huggins?
Are we talking like a full grown bear? Does the bear, like, are we talking a cub? What are we talking here?
Full grown bear.
My money is on the bear.
Yeah. Safe bet.
I'm always going like, wasn't there something on the internet floating like a couple months ago? There was like one person versus 1,000 gorillas, or 100 guys versus
100 guys versus one gorilla.
Yeah.
Who walks out?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I might put money on Bobby Huggins depending on how he was after a game, but okay. What is the one arena you're looking forward to coaching in the Big 12?
Hope Coliseum.
There you go.
Nice.
Good answer.
Good answer. So we always ask funniest recruiting trip, and you told us how you played one-on-one, and then Brandon Ingram came and joined you. What would be your second funniest recruiting trip? Give me another good one. Doesn't have to be your second funniest, but give me another. I feel like if you were a JUCO coach, you have some funny stories.
Man, there's so many. Like, we always talk about it, man. If you wrote a book, if you wrote a memoir of all the junior college stories and sold it, like, people wouldn't believe it. They would think it was like nonfiction, that it was all made up, that there's no way these could be actually true. But man, that's a good question. No, I don't really have one that compares to that one. That was a good one. That was a good one that I shared last year. You know,
is there a recruit that got away that you were like, oh man, like?
Oh, there's lots of them. Lots of them.
Coach, we don't have that much time. You've got stuff to do.
Is there one that keeps you up at night where like, oh man, like that was just.
I wouldn't say keeps you up at night, because I do think things typically kind of happen for a reason, and kind of all, like, in a weird way, like, the team you have is who's supposed to be in that circle together at this moment. I don't think it just happens by chance. I think there is some level of, divine intervention that puts people in the same room together at the same times. But, there was a recruit when I was my first year as the head coach at Paris Junior College. There's a kid named Roderick Flemings from DeSoto. He played at Oklahoma State. He was a really good player, wing, athletic, and this was a valuable lesson that I learned through this. And it was semester, and he was transferring at semester, and he was going to come to Paris Junior College, and I was going to go pick him up from Dallas, about an hour and a half, Paris, Texas to Dallas, Texas, and he was like, no, like, my girlfriend can bring me, she'll bring me and I'll meet you. I'll meet you at the school in Paris. And so like, it was like, kind of was, taking a little while, hadn't really showed up. And again, this was as crazy as it sounds. You're still thinking this is like 2007, people had cell phones, but it wasn't like,
right.
It wasn't like now. There wasn't no track my iPhones or, you couldn't see people's locations. But long story short, a school in the league, Trinity Valley, they had convinced him to pull over on I-30 right past, like there's a big long bridge right through Rockwall where the lake is. And they had convinced him just to pull over. And then they not only convinced him to pull over, they convinced him to follow them back to Athens, Texas. And he ended up going there and not to Paris. And so that was the last time that I didn't pick up a recruit myself unless the paperwork was signed. So that was a good story.
Yeah, like a hawk. Jeez. I'd love to know who the head coach is, but I'm not gonna. Was his name Grant McCausland? No, I was kidding. All right. So if they made a Hollywood movie about your life, okay. Mm-hmm. What would the title be? Who would play you? And what would the theme song be?
Man, that's like three good ones. I don't know, man. People in college said I looked like Ethan Hawke. I never saw it, but they thought I kind of looked like him in Training Day.
I can see that.
I've always had an affinity for like, mafia movies. I've watched The Sopranos probably 4 or 5 times. Mm-hmm. I've always said, like, if you didn't have to end up in like jail or prison, being a mafia boss probably wouldn't be a bad line of work. So I don't know what the title would be. But and then the theme song, man. I don't know. I could go a couple of different ways depending on the mood I am. I could go like Leonard Skinner's Simple Man, because I do think I'm a fairly simple person. You could go all the way from that to like Drake, Started from the Bottom, because again, I started as a JUCO assistant, making $6,500 a year with a dorm and a meal card. So you could go a lot of different ways. But that's
so you're saying you're not living in a dorm, you don't have a meal card right now?
No, but I will say this: the good ladies across campus in our athletic training table, they've been keeping me fed because my wife and kids are still in Texas at the moment. Okay. My daughter's finishing up, and I was very concerned and stressed about what the heck I was going to be eating out here by myself. And I've been going over there to training table, back to my roots, and eating in the cafeteria before I go home every night.
Love that. I love that.
That's it, Sam. That's all the questions I got.
All right. So
I got to save another 5 for next time.
Eating in the cafeteria. I'm just going to let you finish it off, Coach Hodge. How's kind of the college campus and the town and city of Morgantown kind of treating you and welcoming you? Kind of the other area where I saw you just having a good fit is you think of West Virginia, you think of Morgantown, you think blue collar, gritty, and I think that just aligns directly with your mentality. Are how receptive have they been?
Yeah, they've been incredible. Even kind of the lead up to taking this job. Anytime you ask people that had any knowledge or spent any amount of time in Morgantown or the state, there's not one person that doesn't rave about how awesome the people are here. Like I said, hard work and blue collar, loyal fan base, and they've been every every bit of that, since we've taken this, they've been so welcoming to myself and my family. And, more than anything, you hope to bring some stability and something that they can count on as well. There's so much turnover in college athletics with your roster that if they can kind of just point to like, hey, this is our coach, and give them something to be proud of. And, again, I always say, like, this is far more their program than mine. I'm a caretaker of it at the moment, and want to do everything we can to honor those people and make them proud and win some games.
Love it. We appreciate you coming on the show, Coach. Luke, you want to close us out?
Yeah. How excited are you for Mountaineer basketball?
It's here, man. It's here.
I know.
We're excited, man. Really excited. Like I said, just so thankful and so fortunate, and feel really blessed to be in this situation.
Yeah. Appreciate the response, Coach, but I was actually asking Sam.
Oh, my bad. I got on a roll.
I'm just excited as Coach Hodge. As a fan of the game, I mean, it's the team you put on the court plays the right way, and I mean that's what fans want to watch. So I'm excited to see that in the Big 12, and wish you nothing but success.
Thank you.
Little do you know, Coach, I live about 3 hours from Morgantown. I have to make sure I don't have a warrant out for my arrest in the state of West Virginia. But I will be coming to a game, at least one. But if you allow me, I'll be on my best.
Please do. Yes, please do.
Coach, you're going to stick on for one more second. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Check out the Mountaineers of West Virginia. Big 12 basketball, like Coach said, it's the best. We agree, too. So many good coaches. It's a players' league. Fundamentally sound basketball. Great fans, great arenas. So check Coach Hodge out in his first year of the West Virginia Mountaineer era. And thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week on the Full Court Press, a college basketball coaches show.